Welcome back to the fifth part of this Learn JavaScript Basics course. If you haven't seen the other parts and you want to check them out, the link for the playlist is in the description below. In the last part, we talked about conditionals with if-else statements, and in this part, we're going to talk about switch statements. So if you're ready, grab yourself a cup of tea and let's get started. So in the last video, we talked about if-else statements, and in this one, we're going to talk about switch statements. Now, if you're using if-else statements, it can get kind of cluttered by doing if statement after if statement. That's where switch can come in handy, giving you the ability to output different things for different cases. So let's start building out a switch statement. So let's say we have a variable called month, and this month is a number, so 3 would be March in our case. So this is where we start our switch statement. So we start with the word switch, then we can have our brackets, and we want to add an expression here. So we're going to pass in month. So we have our switch statement, it takes in an outside value, which is month, because this may change here. And then we use our curly brackets, and now we're inside our switch statement. So the way we do this is we're going to say case. We're going to have case 1. So this is basically saying if month, or if whatever this expression is equal to 1, then we do a colon, then directly underneath it, we can console.log out January, for instance. Semicolon, and if this was number 1, and I save this, you can see we have that outputted. There's a few things we need to do here. If we had another case, and that was number 2, the exact same thing we can do, console.log February, semicolon. What you notice is it's outputted both of them. And that's because we haven't told it to stop. Once it's outputted this, we haven't told it to stop. And the way we do that is after our console log, before the next case, we use the break keyword, then semicolon, give that a save. Now you can see it's only outputted January. So after each case, if we don't want it to carry on, we have to use the break keyword. So we need to break here. And we can also have a default which picks up anything that isn't listed as a case. So default, this is kind of like the else of a switch statement. Semicolon, and we can say console.log is not a month. So right now, if it's not 1 or 2, it will default. So if I put 4 in here, is not a month because 4 isn't listed as a case. And this doesn't have to be a number either. This could be a string. So if this was March, for instance, with quotes, we could just put these down as January, February, March, etc., etc. So I'm just showing you this with numbers. So what I'm going to do is quickly do the whole months now. And there we have it. The 4th month is April, 12th month is December, and it's just a little bit cleaner than having lots of if statements, I think. It's better for bigger amounts of data. Now, if we have a number that isn't maybe a number, we say KK, is not a month, so it's going to default to this at the very end. We could do something cool here, so we could use a JavaScript built-in function. So let's say we're going to grab a date. And we can grab a JavaScript specific date by saying new date, and this pulls the date out of the browser for us. Then we can get the month, so let's say var month, and that is equal to date, so we're grabbing the date that we've just declared, this variable here, and we're going to say dot get month. And this is something, again, that JavaScript gives us. This is not something we've had to write. This is built in and this is built in. This is a method on this. So now this is going to be a little weird. So we are in November. So if I save this, you can see it says October. And the reason that is, if I console.log the month here before our switch statement, you can see 10, not 11. And that's because January is month 0. So it's like arrays counting from 0. So what we would have to do, I just remove this. In our switch statement, I could say switch month plus 1. So we're adding 1 to our month. So when I save it now, we get November. So you can see how this could be very useful over an if statement, if else statement. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next part of JavaScript Basics.